Live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Kevin Acuff.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTobacco.com, and I'm joined once again by my very good friend, Mr. Kevin Acuff from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And it's yet another week of an in-studio guest. And this week, in studio, is my good friend.
Let's go.
Erik Wentworth.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And Kevin, I know you're not as familiar with Erik, but and for those listening at home, a little backstory. Erik was vice president of sales?
Executive vice president of Clint Tobacco.
Which was Hammer and Sickle.
Yep, Hammer and Sickle Cigars.
And Hammer and Sickle,
unfortunately dissolved.
Yes.
About 2 years ago.
Was it because of the Russian invasion?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we dissolved. We were primarily a vodka company. That was like our big.
That's right.
The bread and butter.
Yeah.
And it was actually made in Russia, which most people didn't think because most Russian vodkas were made somewhere else and just claimed to be Russian.
Right.
So when that happened and we couldn't import the vodka into the U.S. anymore, that became a huge problem. And it just kind of made sense. You know, we thought about rebranding the vodka and the cigars and just the time and energy and, you know, the rebuild. It's launching a new brand, and it just made more sense. And, you know, it sucked, but I have this opportunity now, which is awesome.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. But just so people know, that's who Erik is. And we'll talk about what he's doing now. But Kevin, Erik, you guys are now connected here. And Erik's always been kind of a local guy, but hopefully that changes in the next few years.
Yeah.
Become an international superstar like everybody else.
Yeah, I'll be a big deal soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah. You got to be bigger than like Terrence Riley and.
I don't know about that. Terrence Riley is such a good dude.
Like physically bigger? Probably no.
No, never. I don't think I'll be physically bigger than most people in the cigar industry. Maybe taller, but not bigger.
Yeah.
Not a big guy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Maybe one day.
We'll talk about your
I'll
shit.
hit the gym. I'll start selling more. It'll be great.
Kevin, how you doing over there? Oh. What is that?
Oh, is that with his mic?
My mic is muted. Oh, shit. Not on... Wait. Try that?
There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There he is.
I didn't even...
See what I mean, Erik? See, I told, like, in the green room, I was telling you, Matt doesn't show me any love, doesn't like me anymore, doesn't talk to me, and then he fucking mutes my microphone, so...
But that... No, but what's weird is I don't know why that would be muted, because it shouldn't be.
I talked to you for a few minutes. I kind of get why I'd mute you. Like, it makes sense.
That's fucked up. I'm sorry about that.
That is fucked up.
That should not have been muted, though.
So he did it accidentally. So basically, what you're saying is that you did it accidentally on purpose.
That's what I heard.
I mean,
well, he wasn't looking. I was clicking buttons. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I was just hitting stuff. So
see, now I don't know which one of you guys is screwing with me. Is it Erik or is it Matt? I mean, I would kind of hope it's Matt since I just met Erik. But you know, if it's going to be like that, then
Erik,
hey,
at
least I know where I stand. So
Erik is he can be trouble. I'm not going to lie.
I'm a bit of an asshole.
I've tangled with him
in the best way possible, I think.
So if you're a bit of an asshole, does that mean you're my kind of asshole? Then is that kind of like where it goes along? I mean, we both like to bust Matthew's balls, so
exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
So we're good then.
Yeah, I mean,
just about having fun.
I know,
having some drinks, having some cigars.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I love when we can have an in-studio guest because A, it's kind of fun that way, but B, it's one less like explanation of like, okay, like this is the link and this is how you log in and like this is what you need to know and like the blah 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 blah. Like you just show up and I'm like, just sit down, like I'll just do it, like we'll be done.
Congrats again on this. This is awesome, man.
Thank you.
This is huge. This is very, very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean I can't take all the credit. You know, Nicole had a lot involvement in it as well.
So smart man.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I have to give that out. I can't take all the credit, but yeah, it is. It's cool. But anyway, Kevin, how are you doing? I still didn't really get that out of you yet.
It's actually nice to sit down and smoke a cigar. It's like it's been like crazy busy for me for like the past, I don't know, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Like this week is no exception. I literally have something going like every evening and every day on this upcoming weekend. So it's just, 8-9 hours worth of work and then get off work and go to work. So
I know the feeling.
it's nuts.
Being busy is a good thing.
As long as it makes me money.
Yeah.
Then we're good. Then we're good. Or I'm having exceptional fun, which I'm having fun right now. So this works. This works.
I've been working a lot, but when I'm not working, I'm home being husband and dad. And you guys both know how exhausting of a job that also is. So.
Exhausting yet rewarding.
Yeah, no, it
is.
It is.
Being a husband and father is the coolest thing.
Yeah,
it
can
awesome.
be. It can be. It can be.
My kids are grown. I mean, I'm grandpa now, so.
Yeah, Kevin's moved on to the stage in that realm
where you get to just pass the kids off when you're done with them.
Yeah, like Kevin's at the point where like, okay, I served my time, and like now I'm out. You know what I mean? And now I go.
He's just on house arrest every once in a while.
Yeah, some days he's got to sacrifice some time, but other than that, he gets to do what he wants.
I mean, I have other stuff to worry about. Like my oldest now is actually starting to race motorcycles, so he's getting into like super sport and super bike that I actually raced when I was in my early 20s. So,
that's cool.
It's like he's following in his dad's footsteps, but now being on the father side of it versus like the young and dumb 20-year-old that doesn't know any better. It's a
you got the worry.
Yeah, watching
it's a whole different set of rules now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the stress of like, hey, dude, this is awesome, but like, I really don't want you to die. So, also that shit can be expensive too. So like, that's quite a commitment too. So but that's awesome. That's really awesome.
He actually already got his first sponsor, and they gave him a motorcycle. So.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, he's fast, just like right out of the gate. I mean, he's hanging kind of with some of the, the big guns that are, factory sponsored guys. So
that's awesome.
I expect to see him maybe make a little bit of a name for himself in this. I mean, he's doing it for fun right now, but you never know.
And he's just racing locally, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he went down to Arizona a couple weeks ago and got his racing license. So.
Oh, nice.
He's all in.
That's awesome.
I forget, how old is he?
27.
Okay. It's a good age.
Is that young for the sport? That's
actually probably kind of old.
Okay.
He's on the older end of it because most of those guys are retired like in their early 30s.
Got it.
So I mean, he's I guess probably right in the middle of it. But I mean, you see like most of the guys in like MotoGP and stuff like that are like 19, 20, 21. Young enough to when they crash at 200 miles an hour, they can pop back up and
I don't know how you
make the next round
at any age.
Did Valentino Rossi retire yet?
I don't know. I think he's still running. I know he was racing last season.
I know, like, cause I like growing up, like I remember that was like the guy, in MotoGP. It was like Valentino Rossi. He rode for Yamaha for a while. I think did he go over to Ducati at one point maybe, but. Yeah, I remember he was like one of the guys to watch growing up, and I'm like, I wonder if he's even still around.
I remember the days of Mick Doohan was the guy that was big when I was racing.
I don't remember that name, but I mean, I was never really into like superbike racing or MotoGP. I always liked it, but like I just never really like got into it. But like, it's always been cool.
Did you race professionally?
I ran a couple seasons in the early 90s. I raced a series that's going around called WERA that was the West East Racing Association.
Yeah.
And then I actually had an AMA Pro license, and I raced a couple of the main, like the AMA Pro races.
That's awesome. That's got to be a cool experience.
Yeah.
I did run Daytona. That was cool.
I didn't know that. You ran on Daytona?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
That was very cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean... That's definitely one of those like once in a lifetime, like for most people, That's pretty cool to say you've done.
And that's kind of why I did it. It's like I knew our team wouldn't stand a chance.
You're like, I'm gonna lose this badly, but like I'm gonna be able to say I did it. So
to be able to go down there and go through speed weeks, and basically bike fest down there and actually qualify and get to start.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Sick.
That is cool. That is really cool.
It's a bucket list item for sure.
Yeah. I know. I still want to just go to Daytona. It's on my list. Daytona, Talladega.
Now,
There's a
see,
lot
I
of
was
them.
actually at Daytona when Dale Earnhardt died.
Oh, that's right. We've
That
talked
was
about this.
that was freaking gnarly. That was just crazy.
That's a yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's very
That's one of those things that, like, you know, you'll never forget. You'll always have with you.
Yeah.
No,
It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but like, there's also something like as a fan, like not that exciting that you were there, but like,
it was. I mean, it was haunting, and like you
yeah,
said, I mean, forever memorable. I mean, literally, you could hear a pin drop in that place.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody knew what had happened before they actually announced publicly what had happened, and it's just you could literally. I mean, you could hear all the airplanes and everything taxiing on the runways at the airport behind the
Ooh.
track. It was so quiet.
yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it wasn't even like that bad of an accident, right? Like it wasn't
It
one of those things
wasn't.
where you see it and like it flips 9 times and you're like,
Yeah.
oh no.
I remember
Eric
it was.
Jones just had a similar hit this weekend at Talladega, and I mean broke his back, but you know it didn't do anything
Yeah.
worse.
Well, the
than
in-car
that.
safety has come a long way too. I mean,
Oh, it's come a little.
Yeah.
well, Junior, you know, it's funny because Junior was on. He does his Dale Junior download podcast, and when one of the episodes, I remember reading about it. He talked about, like, someone had asked him about like his dad or whatever, and he was like, you know, how do you feel about like the safety in the cars today? And he was like, I feel totally comfortable rolling down the racetrack now because like
Yeah.
because of what happened to my dad and like a couple other things that were like, all right, we need to really be serious about this. Like he's like, NASCAR has put so much into the safety.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
between-
yeah, it's
like,
gone leaps and bounds.
oh, I mean, like back in, you know, Dale's day, I mean, they didn't have full helmets. They weren't strapped in. Now, I mean, when they get in the car, I mean, they're strapped to the chair.
Yeah, they don't
They get a
move.
full fit. Yeah,
They're-
they're
Yeah,
like
they have
this the whole
Hans
way.
device, the full
Yep.
back.
Yeah. So
Well, how about like ironically, like Ryan Newman when he went over, what was it, 2 years ago? He ended up upside down on a bad tumble crash.
I remember that. It was I think it was Daytona.
And yeah, and it had happened to him before, and he got hurt. And NASCAR developed a bar that they put across the front of the roll cage called the Newman Bar. And
Oh, I didn't even know that.
they said the Newman Bar saved his life when he went upside down in the next crash. So basically, the safety device that was implemented because of him and named after him ultimately saved his life.
Yeah.
Which was that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah. And I mean, it is. It's a scary sport, you know.
It's terrifying.
But I always thought that was interesting when like Dale Jr. was like, yeah, I feel safe like rolling down a track now. I was like, or something along that effect of like, you know, I mean, like, wow, like to take a step back, like his dad's death was one of like the craziest moments in the history of the sport, and for him to be like, yeah, no, like now today, like I'm cool with it.
Yeah, now I can.
It's like
I'll race.
there's gotta be some faith there, you know, like
It's sad that it takes something like that to happen for the safety to be developed. I think with
Yeah.
the advent of AI and the way things are moving forward, that you actually, you know, to be able to develop safety stuff on these things before it actually becomes an issue and hurts somebody.
yeah, and unfortunately, you're right. It's sad that it has to come to that point, but at the same time, it's like I feel like it's the only way anything ever happens.
We're at the point now. We're so far advanced that they can figure it out before it happens. Like football helmets.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's. I mean, it's not even a helmet anymore. It's basically a car. There's airbags. There's like it's crazy.
Yeah, I remember someone telling me like there was it a football helmet? I was talking to somebody about something, and it was like, oh yeah, like I think it was football helmets or something. I was like, yeah, guess how much this cost? Like, guess how much those helmets cost? It was a football helmet or it was something. I can't remember what it was.
It's gonna be football or lacrosse.
And I was like, I don't know, like $200 or $300, and they're like, no, like almost $1,000. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, but think about it, like
Yeah,
how advanced they are now. Like they're so safe and
it's
like
insane.
I'm like, damn. But I mean,
Well, there's-
when you think about it, I mean, okay, well, I mean, yeah,
Well, there's motorcycle helmets on the market that are upwards of $1,000 now.
yeah,
But I mean,
Yeah.
they have like a third brake light on the back of the helmet, and then they have like a rear-facing camera that displays on the visor as you're looking out, so you can see what's coming up behind you without having to, just all kinds of crazy stuff.
yeah.
If I rode, that's what I'd want though. I want the top of the line safety. I don't.
Yep.
You have to.
because I'm terrified.
Yeah. Or you should, I should say, but some people won't. But like, it's crazy. Like up here in New Hampshire, right? Like Kevin, I don't know. In Nevada, is it helmets all around, like all the time?
Yeah, we have helmet law here.
Yeah. So like in New Hampshire, where I live, like you see, helmet's optional.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you'll see guys like coming up over the border and they pull off and they take off the helmet and then they keep going.
Yep.
And it's like you just see dudes riding around no helmet up here, and it's like, wow.
They stop.
You see that
right after
you see
they
that
cross
going
that
down
line.
there.
They do.
Crazy.
Usually
see
Arizona.
Guys here going to Arizona. Yeah, Arizona doesn't have helmet law, so it's like when you're on a group ride, the guys they'll stop as soon as they hit Arizona, and half the group takes their helmets off.
It's insane, and it's like I get it, but at the same time, it's like as much as it probably feels nice, you have to think like, I know, but I think I'd rather still have my helmet on because, like, God forbid, like.
And you never know when it's going to happen because I mean, you could be cruising down some back road, just chilling, and go around a turn, and all of a sudden there's like a fucking cow standing in the middle of the road, and down you go and smack your forehead on the road at 50 miles an hour, and you're dead.
Or you just hit like a pothole or a crack that you don't even notice, and like the wheel just
gravel,
gives, and you just and you just go, and I know it really is, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But hey, people like to roll the dice with their life. That's on them. So. But anyway, let's get into the show tonight. I know we have Erik here, and I want to talk about what he's got going on. So, let's talk about the people that make this show happen, and then we'll kind of get right into it. So, Kevin, you have your accessories with you.
I have my accessories. I have one for each hand.
Oh, that's always
aren't
nice.
those pretty?
I know.
So we got the Slimmy and the Line 2.
I have my Biggie in my line too, and then
I got Dupont too. Are we talking Dupont? I love this stuff.
How about you? See, Erik came prepared.
He did.
Oh,
he did. So our friends at SD Dupont, they helped make this show happen, and I'm glad you came prepared. You have a is this a single? This is the single.
The single Defy Extreme or something.
Yeah,
best lighter on the market in my opinion.
It is one of my favorite. I like the new 2-jet one. They make it with 2 jets now.
I haven't used that one yet. But
I was fortunate enough to have one on loan from SD Dupont, and it was badass. Yeah. I really loved it. That's a fucking sweet lighter.
Great lighter.
But yeah, our friends at SD Dupont, nothing but the best. That's what we use here at Smokin Tabacco. We rely on the best products to cut and light our cigars, featuring the new Biggie lighter. Kevin has the Slimmy. And they're fantastic. Kevin and I have been talking about this flat flame for forever. I mean, it's awesome.
I love the Slim 7. Is that what it was called?
They still make that one.
When they came out, their first flat flame, right?
Yeah, that's even smaller.
Awesome.
I have one over there somewhere, but yeah, it was one of my first DuPont lighters. For what it is. It's a great small, flimsy little lighter. Oh, Toronto just scored. Wow.
Perfect for when you're wearing a suit, though. You get to, it's not bulgy.
Yeah.
It's a hideaway lighter that is still classy and works.
Like as cool as the Line 2 is, like, I mean, you know what these feel like.
It's got beat to it.
It's solid brass underneath or gold.
This thing, it's kind of the same story with the Slimmy. I mean, it fits in the pocket really well. Or like, I have a couple of the little foldable leather carriers that hold a few cigars and cutter and lighter, and it fits in there perfect.
Oh yeah. Yeah, look, they make great products. You get what you pay for. That's Absolutely. What I will say. People are like, well, yeah. But you know what? If you're a cigar smoker, spend a little bit more. Get something that's going to last you a lifetime, that's never going to fail on you. And even if it does, they will take care of it. Like, they're not like, no. They'll be like, you send it in, we'll take care of it.
This is the best cutter I've ever used. I think it's just called, like, the Dupont cutter.
Yeah, it's the basic guillotine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is another one right here. Just a basic double guillotine straight cutter from SD Dupont. I mean, it's
good weight.
The blades are surgical sharp.
Dude, and Kevin, I was just saying, Kevin nailed it. I mean, I have another Dupont cutter. I think it's over there, the kickstand one.
Oh, I do love that one.
Yeah, I have that one too.
The cigar rest one.
It's
good one.
It's the sharpest cutter I've ever used.
Yeah.
I mean, I've cut some thicker cigars with it, just right through.
Their stuff is pricey, but it's worth it.
It is.
You get what you pay for, and it's just awesome.
Well, it's like you're buying a piece of art for the house. I mean, it's really what you're buying.
That's true.
I mean, and it doesn't matter even if it's something just as simple as the Slimmy, flat flame. I mean, it's still, when you look at this thing, it's a piece of art. I mean, it's gorgeous to actually look at.
It's the Lamborghini of cigar accessories.
It is.
It's, the best you can get.
It is.
And they really have them for, people of all budgets. I mean, $200 is expensive for a lighter, yes, but it's going to outlast 10 plastic ones.
Yeah,
it's true.
So you're not really that much more, pay once. What is it? Buy once, cry once. Is that what they say?
It's true.
Maybe in Vegas. I don't know about here.
But, but don't forget to check out ST Dupont. Shake up the legacy. Those guys are awesome. We wouldn't be here without them.
Is that their tagline? Shake up the legacy?
It's the new one, yeah. It used to be exceptional, but
I love that.
Les Mann actually was like, it's shake up the legacy now. I'm like, oh.
I like that
that's
one.
great.
So shake up the legacy with ST Dupont. Wow. Also, our friends right down the road, 2guyscigars.com. That's right. The number 2guyscigars.com.
Love those guys.
Love those guys.
It's where I got my start in the cigar industry.
Two Guys Smoke Shop, as it's known for us locally, but 2guyscigars.com for those not around the New England area. It's been a very important shop for both of us.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of my formidable cigar years were in those shops. Hours I spent in those shops.
Absolutely.
You as well. That's where I met you, just hanging out with fucking Two Guys all the time.
Yep.
And then going to the Golf Association event every year. And
yep. Two Guys, yeah. Oh, yeah, good times there.
Yeah. I mean,
with Trevor and Jonathan and Freddie.
Yeah, there's a lot of memories there.
Mm-hmm.
If you head over to the number 2guyscigars.com today, you'll find an amazing selection of cigars and cigar accessories from all over the industry. Place orders, check them out, give them some love. They give us love, so you should give them love too. Order some cigars from them. You can also order, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but you can also order the new 3-leaf cigars from 2guyscigars.com. So we're going to talk about 3-leaf cigars, what it means, who it is.
Yep.
Eric will tell us about the brand, but you can head over there and order them from the number 2guyscigars.com. And Kevin, when you do make it up here, obviously that's one of the first shops I'll take you to is 2 Guys Smoke Shop.
Oh, that's one of the ones I'm definitely dying to go to. It's like, you guys have all the kick-ass cigar lounges out that way.
We do for our area. Yeah, I mean we have 2 Guys Smoke Shop. We got Twins.
Yep.
Castro's is up here.
Yep.
If you continue going north into North Conway, you got Cigar Shenanigans.
Yeah, and Original, which is up and coming too.
Yeah.
They were the original one up there. They've kind of been shaking things up. North Conway, for 5 minutes down the road from each other, they have 2 unbelievable cigar shops. New Hampshire's weird in that circumstance where within 30 minutes there's so many nice lounges.
And then if you go over to Portsmouth, you got Federal.
Yep.
Which, shout out to Jeremy, that's our boy over there. So
you got Plastow Cigars in Plastow. You got Castro's in 4 other towns. There's just great cigar shops everywhere here. It's unbelievable.
And my buddy Darren Hill from My Father's Cigars has been telling me about another lounge I got to go check out. And maybe you know about it, but I haven't been there. The Ash
in Kingston.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but
it's a nice little spot.
Yeah, he's been telling me about it. I got to go check it out.
It's, New Hampshire has it happening. It is crazy.
Yeah. Also, Kevin, the thing is when you do come up here, you won't pay sales tax or tobacco tax on your cigars. Let's go.
See, that's the beauty. I mean,
and I think we're going to see
some more.
So. That's right.
Even better.
You drink for free.
One night.
I think you're going to
only.
start to see some maybe additions in Vegas since they passed the tax cap.
I think so too.
That made a huge difference out here. I mean, we've had 1 lounge open. Actually, we've had 2. We had the Casa de Monte Cristo open, and then we had Smoke.
And the Triple Crown Lounge, I think, is fairly new too, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he opened though before. Well, you know what? No, he opened it back over the last summer, so he opened after the cap as well. So.
And then before the cap, the Tap and Ash wasn't too. They've been around a year or 2.
A couple years.
Yeah, so I mean, I know what you're saying, but
yeah,
also
you're going to see a difference, especially for people because the existing lounges obviously they have to carry over the stuff that they've already paid the taxes on.
True,
but
the
new lounges have the advantage of now we're open after the tax cap, so we don't have to pay all that, so they can have better prices, and you can already see a difference.
Yeah.
The thing is, do the strip lounges where a lot of the tourists are, do they keep their prices inflated because it's on the strip? Or
Yes.
Do they, yeah.
Yeah.
I
There's
mean,
been no price change at all on the strip lounges.
That's a convenience
like
buy.
Casa de
Yeah.
Monte Cristo and Casa
Davidoff.
Fuente and 8 Davidoff.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to a Davidoff of Geneva on the Vegas Strip, you're paying $55 for Aniversario Toro.
And you're not thinking about it.
No.
It's part of Vegas.
because you're in Vegas and you're at Davidoff.
Correct.
But at the same time, it's like I get it, and that's where that's
You're paying double the price for a steak. It's the same. It's just more expensive in Vegas.
yeah. But you know what? It makes sense though. You know, and you're right. You're paying for that
I
experience.
got no problem with it. It's where you are.
I still go.
Yeah.
I love going to all those places.
Well, and I mean, most of those, I mean, like you said, they're experience based. So
Yeah.
you pay for the experience. I mean, I've been to places where I don't mind paying because it's where I'm at and I'm paying for an experience. But
Yep.
Right.
for an everyday thing, it doesn't work.
Absolutely.
Shit gets expensive nowadays, though. It's crazy. But anyway, speaking of expensive, and I might have some questions later that I can kind of get into with you. But
Absolutely.
you're a brand owner now.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Has it been the scariest thing you've ever done?
The day my daughter was born was the scariest thing that ever happened.
I'll give you that.
Going up to having the kid, you're like, it's gonna be fine. Then
I'll
when
give
she's
you that.
born and you hold her, you're like, fuck.
It's so funny.
I'm responsible for this now.
when we were in the room, so when my daughter was born, Nicole's water broke in the morning, and then we were at the hospital within an hour or so, and then we were there all day, but she also was delivered that night, so within almost 12 hours, water broke, baby came out.
Same thing with my wife. It was a relatively smooth,
Yeah,
easy process from the horror stories you hear.
yeah. And that's the
yeah.
thing. I think, and granted, Nicole, I think was worried because she didn't know what to expect because you don't know how it's going to go,
No.
and that's normal. But I remember from the time that she really started coming down the pike, so to speak, to when she was out was pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole pushed for 15, 20 minutes and she came right out. And which I know is
Crazy.
I know that's not how most women do it.
It's crazy.
But it happened so fast that I just remember she came out and they're like, "Do you want to cut the cord?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I and then the nurse looked at me. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm just in shock. It happened so fucking fast." And she's like, "It's okay."
Yeah,
I'm like, "I know, but it was quick."
It's surreal.
Everything changes in a second.
Yeah.
It's just done.
And you're just like, oh, there it is. For the last 9.5 months, we've been talking about this. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's a thing that happened.
There's a person right there.
Yep.
And it's crazy. Sometimes I'll be in the kitchen when she's in the living room playing with her toys. And I'll just look around, and I'll see her just ah! And I'll be like, there's a little person in there. That's awesome.
It's nuts. But yeah, so that's the most terrifying thing.
Yeah.
This is also terrifying, but at the same time, it's exciting.
So
And see, it's kind of like a birth all over again, right?
it's true.
Yeah. Although this took longer. This was, a
Planning
year and a half in the making.
So
And then it was supposed to happen, then didn't happen, then it's supposed to happen, and just delays on everything with packaging. The bands got messed up once. There's just kind of issues everywhere we looked.
So first and foremost, so it's 3 Leaf Cigars.
3 Leaf Cigars, yep.
And where does that name come from?
So 3 Leaf Cigars. So I have a business partner. His name's Jim Ferreira,
Okay.
and he's a local guy. You've actually probably met him at Something with Two Guys.
That name sounds familiar. Yeah.
He has 2 daughters. I have 1 daughter.
Okay.
So the 3 leaves represent our children.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Now you can't have any more kids though because now you have to change the
It's
name.
the plan anyway. My daughter actually drew the logo. She loves to draw, and so we're drawing one night, and I'll draw with her. And I was drawing tobacco leaves, just I don't know why. And so she drew this, and I go, "Oh, that looks cool." And she goes, "Yeah, it's 3 leaves." My wife goes, "Oh, triple leaf." I go, "Oh, 3 leaf." And from that moment, it was literally that second where I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna do this." I like the logo, I like the name, and it fits with everything. So it was kind of one of those cool, surreal moments where it's just like, "Yep, all right, now we're doing it."
That's kind of how it happened with Smokin Tabacco. People are it's I was sitting out back having a cigar. I was talking to one of my best friends, And he was like, "Yeah, man, your last name's Tobacco." Like, he's like, "You gotta do like Smokin Tabacco, but like spell it, your last." And I was like, and then it was like the same as like, yeah, now I can't not do anything with it. I mean, it's too good.
When it hits, because you mess around with the idea, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, fuck it, we're in.
You're like, yeah.
Let's see what happens.
You're like, I'm too excited about this idea to just like let it go now. Like now I feel obligated to do something.
Yep.
See, that's pretty cool. The family tie that you have to the brand, though, because I mean, as a dad and as a family guy, that would make me like your brand even before I even tried the cigars, just because of how you came up with it.
It is, yeah. It's something fun, and I'm a family guy for sure. One of our next lines, we're kind of toying around with it, where we're going to let the girls choose the colors.
Oh, okay.
And kind of design the band.
Okay.
And so he has a daughter, I believe she's 8 and 11, and my daughter's 10. So we'll let them kind of pick it and see what they come up with.
It's nice how they're all kind of close in age too.
And they're best friends.
Awesome.
They get along so
awesome.
well. So, it's worked out unbelievably. We've had so much fun doing it, and we can't wait to see what happens next. See where this takes us.
Yeah.
But I mean, the cigar industry is such a fun industry. You get to do this. I'm working right now.
I know, right?
That's no.
Kevin, how many times have we talked about this? How we're like, we wish this is just what we did full time.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, me, as the senior review guy for Smokin Tabacco.
This is right.
The backstory is always the backstory is always interesting to me, and what a freaking cool backstory you have for this company, Eric.
Can I see the box?
That's cool.
Absolutely. Careful, the hinges are a little rough. That's been one of our main issues. The box doesn't like to open all the way, and if you put a little pressure on it, everything just explodes.
Ah, okay.
So we're redoing that. But
very interesting box. It looks familiar.
Yeah, so I loved the boxes we remade when we did Hammer Over, from the crystal and marble, and just the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Just the one color with a stamp.
Yep.
The size, the name, that's it. And it just looks clean, in my opinion. It's clean cut.
It does. And Kevin, I'll hold this up so that you can see it too. But I mean, it's that simple, like no latch.
And I like that. I mean, just the simple design, but yet when you walk into a humidor and you walk past that, it's simple, but it's bold enough that it grabs your eyes.
The logo stands out.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I've always been a proponent of is, I mean, there's, certain manufacturers that we talked about on here before that I said, lead the industry in packaging because it draws your eyes to the shelf. That would draw your eyes to the shelf and somebody, ooh, what's this?
Yep.
That particular box style, Micallef has started to use with the black and the blue and some of the other stuff they have going on. And it's funny because when I talked to Dan Thompson, president of Micallef, he said, we actually got a lot of our influence on our box styling from Matt Booth at Room 101, because Matt uses that same kind of like no latch, just like the rest.
It's based off of color.
Mostly color, basic logo. But it's so true though. It
works.
Look, it works. And Kevin, like you and Eric, you know this. You've been around. Look, we've all had tons of different boxes of cigars. Yeah. There's been some awesome packaging out there. That's cool. But I think there's something to be said about something so simplistic at the same time, that for the average, like the three of us are like really geeky people. Like this is what we spend all our time
cigar.
doing.
This is what we love. Yeah.
Most cigar guys who go into a shop, like they like cigars, but like they don't make it their whole life like the three of us do. So like for them, sometimes that crazy stuff like they don't really care about, which I get it, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Because it's like they're not into like all that extra shit. So it needs to be more simple for them. And like this, like we've been talking to other manufacturers have been doing that. Especially like Kevin, we talked about this the last couple of shows, like on both shows, the simple color coding thing that manufacturers are doing now. It sounds like, oh, like it's so unoriginal, but think about it. It makes a lot of sense. And the average guy who comes in, oh, I want more of that cigar I had last time. What was it? It was Micallef, or it was 3-leaf, or it was, whoever. And
it was in a green box and a black box and a red box or whatever, and you just go right to it and grab it.
And that tells them everything. They don't. Oh, it was like the so and so whatever side. No, like it was the green box. Oh, it was 3-leaf. It was green. Oh, I know what it was.
And our size names are just the size of the cigars: 6x48, 5x50, 6x54.
So no like Toro Robusto. It's just the measurement.
Just the measurements. No.
And that
weird,
works.
With Hammer and Sickle, we had the Hermitage double Corona, which was a Churchill, but a 54 ring gauge. Double Corona didn't make sense for that. Like the sizes sometimes get confusing.
Yeah.
So now it's just name and numbers. Just
Well, the thing I like about your packaging there too is like, Matt, if you could hold that up again, is like if you look at it from a retail perspective, I mean it's impactful. It's a simple color. The logo shows up and it minimizes shelf space.
Correct.
So,
it's a 16 count box, 4x4, so it is skinnier than your average cigar box.
So when you're in the humidor, you can get a lot of product out, and it doesn't take up a lot of shelf space.
Yep.
And that's from a retail side, that's huge.
Oh yeah. Because Kevin, I mean, how many times have we heard people say like, oh, like from retailers who talk about like, oh yeah, like like we want to bring in new products, but like we have to figure out like, well, our shelves are always full, so like where do we find space? And then the manufacturers on the flip side are like, we're trying to get into a retailer and their shelves are all full, so like how do we make it so that we take up the least amount of space but maximize
correct.
Well, especially when you put like 15 cigars in a flat box, I mean it's 3 times the width of that.
Yep.
Right.
So now it's taken up, you can actually get, you can get 3 of your boxes out there or 1 box of the competitor. So what's going to bring more money to your humidor as a retailer?
I do love the way a 10-row box looks, right? Because it takes up the space. You get to put more, your logo gets to be bigger. It's more advertising. But like you guys said, to the retailer, it's just easier to sell in a box where I can fit 3 in the space of 1.
Hey, I can give you a lot more product and I'll take up less room.
Yep.
A retail, at the end of the day, they want to hear that.
And as a new brand, we have to fight for all the space we have.
Yeah.
It's, nothing is an easy sale.
Yeah.
It's, we got to earn it.
It's funny. I think All Saints is doing something similar with their packaging too. They I think he's doing like 12 count boxes, and they're skinny like that, and they're kind of simple. It's like simple black, the name of like like the St. Francis, and then the logo. That's it. And so like you're seeing this trend more and more, and especially with smaller companies.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense.
I think a lot of that too has to do with the expense of the packaging, because I mean that's a significant component to releasing the cigar is the packaging, and if you minimize it, it's going to be cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you're new and you're starting, you have to like, oh, we have this much to spend. You don't want to be, someone like Perdomo. They can have 20 count boxes, 10 wide with the shelf talker and all the foil and. Because and
it's going to get in anywhere they want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we're launching the 30th. Everyone's going to be like, we want it.
Oh, we're
right. There's no selling.
That cigar was sold before it was announced.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. I mean, and their packaging. I mean, I think Perdomo's packaging is the packaging by which all other cigars are judged. I mean, they do it, I think, better than just about anybody in the industry. But now that you're starting to see the trend towards simple color coding with bold graphic logos, that stands out just as much as the Perdomo stuff does with all the intricacy.
Yeah,
I agree.
And then you do have some companies that go with the wild, elaborate boxes that when you look at them in the humidor, it's like if you actually hold the box out and it by itself, it's elaborate and it looks cool, but when you put it on the shelf in the humidor, it gets lost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and so we like our boxes to be kind of staggered too. So we have the green Habano, and the Connecticut is like a deep brown, burgundy-ish color. It's kind of hard to explain. We like to stagger the colors, so it's a pattern. So when you go into the humidor, you see, the green, brown with the same logos. And that seems to really work and draw the eye in. So it's just kind of something different.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's nice. And I think that you made the right decision with that.
I think so, too. I mean, when we go into limiteds, we'll get more elaborate with packaging. I think with limited editions, you can definitely go crazier because they're only there for a little bit. They're not getting a permanent shelf space.
Yeah.
So it's either going on someone's countertop or on their special table or on a shelf they have reserved for limited stuff.
It's a presentation piece.
So
Right.
It's supposed to be.
Once we start getting into that, we have some fun ideas for elaborate stuff.
Yeah.
For the mainstream core line stuff, it's got to be simple, easy, and just, memorable, in my opinion.
I agree.
So,
Now, so all your cigars are made in the Dominican Republic.
yes, sir.
And you guys, I'm not even going to ask, but I know you guys are not disclosing where they're made.
Correct.
Okay.
So as of right, it's 3-leaf cigars. It's, that's what we're selling it as. We want people to buy it as 3-leaf cigars and not as another factory.
Okay.
We're all cigar geeks. We have factories that we love, factories that we don't normally like cigars that come from.
True.
And in my opinion, they both have the same negative connotation. Because when we were having at Hammer, when the cigars were made at Davidoff, people were expecting the cigars to be Davidoff. But they weren't. We weren't getting the Davidoff tobacco. We weren't getting their best rollers. We were getting, what we were paying for.
Yeah.
And so people hear, oh, it's made by Davidoff. I can get a Davidoff cigar for under $10. And they smoke it and they go, oh, that's not Davidoff. So that has just as much a negative connotation as somebody going, oh, I don't like that factory. Right? It gets the person to buy it, but then they don't. It underwhelms them because they have higher expectations for it.
It's true. And Kevin, I know you probably have this too, but and I'm not going to mention names. And, I think Kevin knows some of them, but.
And Davidoff makes some of the best cigars in the world. I want to put that out there.
Oh, no, they do. I love Davidoff.
I'm just using that as an example of.
Oh, yeah.
We actually just talked about this on Spare Notes.
We did. And it's funny because I've said, and it's not, look, and again, it's, I have to preface this because some people are going to try to turn this around. I have nothing against the people who own the factories. I know most of them, as do you, and Kevin knows a lot of people too. And but there are some factories where I always give them a fair shot.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what it is. I smoked a cigar. I'm like, all right, well, this is something new. Let's try this. I'm just I'm underwhelmed. And it's just what factory come out of? Yeah, another one. And it's and it's nothing like I just hate those guys. So the cigars. No, it's there's some people I love the people.
Yep.
And it's every time I'm oh man, I just don't know what it is. Every time so I get it.
It's like booze. There's
some
people like tequila, some people like bourbon, some people are going to like these cigars, some people aren't going to like them. We're not making something for everybody to love.
Of course. You can't.
We're making something we hope most people will enjoy.
Yeah.
And
that's
the way you have to look at it.
For everybody, right?
And, it's so part of our plan with the company is to move to different countries and make cigars with different manufacturers kind of all over the place and have that full line of everything.
Yeah, you get Dominican, you get Nicaraguan, maybe do something in Honduras, maybe you dabble Costa Rica.
Yeah, you start messing around with everything and, see what you can find and see what you can make work. And that's the terrifying part for me is because with Hammer, we were strictly Dominican.
Yeah.
That's why we stayed with the Dominican. I was comfortable there. I know pretty much everybody in the Dominican as far as box, band, tobaccos go. So it's just easier. And, I got to send out a group email and everyone responded, yep, we're in. Great, let's do it. Going to Nicaragua, I have to make new contacts. I know all the people still somewhat, but I have to build that relationship to go through the process of making a cigar with them and do all that. But so that's where it gets a little scary now.
Now, how many, and again, you don't have to talk about who it is, obviously, but just out of curiosity, when you went through the initial, process, how many factories did you go down and meet with and try out and kind of go back and forth? How long did it take before you settled on whoever you're using now?
So, since my time with Hammer, I didn't go down and meet with anybody.
Okay.
So through my time off, when Hammer closed to us launching this, I didn't work. Right, I was home to get my daughter off the bus, home to put her on the bus. If someone needed to come fix the dishwasher, I was the one there to do it. So through the relationships I built, I knew I was able to trust them and say, this is what we're looking for. This is the type of tobaccos we want to use. And they sent us samples. And so we had 5 or 6 different factories that I know very well send us samples. And we had them all remake them for us once. And once we got these ones in, We just kind of knew that's where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
They made it spectacular.
Yeah.
We think. I mean, again, it's got a little bit of Nicaraguan in the filler, but other than that, it's primarily Dominican. They were just great, and we smoked them and we're like, holy shit, this is what we're gonna go with.
Yeah.
It was another one of those aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just stood out. This is what we're gonna do. This makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, I always found it to be a very interesting process too. I mean, talking with some other people, who've started brands or just people have been around a little bit, but they're newer.
You smoke a lot of cigars.
Yeah, yeah,
And a lot of cigars you don't necessarily want to smoke. And the first time you smoke it, you're like, oh, I didn't really enjoy that as much as I was hoping. But let me smoke it again because maybe my palate was off. And you're like, I didn't really like it. And you're like, but I didn't eat dinner. Let me have dinner, see if I like it better. Let me, try it without drinking bourbon. Let me try it with having water or, And so you're smoking the same cigars 9 times over, knowing you didn't necessarily like it to begin with.
right.
And so it's a fun process, but you smoke a lot of cigars.
Oh, I'm sure.
A lot. I think one night we had
Yeah, I've taught
60 ashtrays or 60 cigars in the ashtray that were just
Jesus.
at the end of it, we're like, we can't make decisions now.
Your palate's trash.
It's fried.
Yeah.
Well, I've
Yeah.
talked to a lot of guys that do blending, and they say, when I initially blended it, it sucked, and then I tried it, like a month later, and it was freaking phenomenal. So, it's crazy how it
kill
changes,
this
and even
here.
just
I'll
a
be
little
right
bit of
Yeah,
age
absolutely.
makes a difference.
One thing we also, my partner Jim and I, we don't try to pretend like we're blenders by any means. We're from New Hampshire. We leave that up to the professionals. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it their whole lives.
Right.
So we just kind of give them guidelines of what we're looking for, some tobaccos we like. And then when we get it, we ask if they can tweak it a little bit, and we go from there. But we're not as hands-on as a lot of people are. We still do a lot of, it's still our final approval, but we're not blenders by any means. This isn't, it wasn't our lifestyle growing up. And,
Right.
you got to pay respects to the people who do it.
That's a fair statement.
All these factories have these
Oh,
amazing
100%.
blenders. Why would I go in and think I could do it better than them?
It's like, I'm going to do this. It's like, they look at you like, who the fuck are you? Like,
Yeah. And there's people like Steve Saka who's got the best palate I think I've ever met. Right, talking to him, he knows more about tobacco than I think I'll ever learn.
Steve is like
And
borderline king of the cigar nerds. I mean,
it's
like
wild.
and he knows his shit.
And Nick Melillo as well.
Nick Malillo's another
And,
one.
Like all these guys, hats off to them because they actually are, I would say, blenders. I hope one day to get to that point, but right now, no, we're letting the people who know how to do this do it.
And it's amazing, those guys, like, just their ability. I mean, it's seriously, it's like,
It's insane.
it's almost like witchcraft.
Yeah.
Another one I can think of is, Noel Rojas. That dude, I mean, just to be able to come, you just tell him what you want,
yeah.
and he'll just go slice and dice and roll it up, and here, smoke this. And it's
They
just
just
like,
grab handfuls of
holy
random
shit,
stuff.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
It's crazy.
I've been in factories with some of these people who've been doing this longer than I've been alive.
mind-blowing.
And you just watch them like
It's an art form.
you watch them like just grabbing raw tobacco, or they're you just stand back and you like just watch, and you just see them do their shit, and they're light and they're just and it's like their mind is working. They know everything they're tasting. They know what they have. They don't have to look at a label like what tobacco. Like they'll just grab tobacco blind and be like, oh, this is Mexican San Andreas. I think we've had this for 3 years. Like you can tell, like they fucking know.
They smell it and they go, 1 leaf of this will be enough.
Yeah.
Like this,
Yeah.
we're gonna do 1 leaf of that, 2 leaves of this, and they just go, and you're like, oh yeah, you nailed it.
And
Oh, okay.
It's eye opening. I mean, I've been to Cigar Safari with Drew Estate, and it's eye opening. It's like when you sit down there, because they have the one where you blend your own, right? So you go into the blending seminar where you actually pick the tobacco
Yeah.
to blend your cigars, and they give you this list, and there's like 40 tobaccos on here, and you look at the wall, and they have all these tobaccos that you can come and try. And it's like fuck you. Where do you even start?
And you're already geeking
know?
out at that point when you're in there. You're like, I get to be here doing this. And then they put all this in front of you, and it's sensory overload, and you're like, uh-oh.
You're like, I don't even know what to grab.
Yeah, it's like you think you know cigars. It's like, okay, well, I like this blend. It's got this lead. It's got this wrapper, this binder, this filler, and blah, blah, blah. And then you look at all this stuff, and then you realize that you don't know shit.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It's unbelievable. And every time I go down, I try to roll a couple cigars, and because I just think it's a cool thing. I love, getting my hands dirty and getting to be a part of it. And every time I do it, it takes me 15 minutes. And I hold it up. I'm all proud of it.
Like, I did it.
And then the lady next to me's rolled like 18, and they're perfect. And mine, I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's humbling right quick in a hurry when you're out there and doing that.
It's just, it's unbelievable what they can do.
I'll tell you, I've watched them roll, and I just remember standing there and just watching them just go boom, 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 and they just another one in the pile. Another one in the pile, and I'm just like...
It's almost hypnotic because
like,
they don't change the way they move. They know exactly.
Yeah.
It's just the muscle memory of it all. They boom, 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 and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Like, they could do it blind.
Yep.
And it's
I was watching ladies roll the flying pigs at Drew Estate, and it literally took her 45 seconds to make a cigar.
And that's a tough cigar to roll.
Yeah, and
that's got the twisted cap on it too. Like that takes more time.
It would take me 15 minutes to make that, and she does one in 45 seconds.
Yep.
It was nuts.
Like filler binder wrapper all the way down, like the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, from bunching it to rolling it to molding it. I mean, actually, I take that back. They were already there. They were already bunched because you had the team next to them was bunching them and putting them in the molds, and then they would actually take the molds.
Yeah, they work
and
in
then
the team.
I was gonna say that's usually how it is. You have a bunch and binder and mold. Yeah,
and they would do the double. They would do the foot and the cap, but it's still to put the wrapper on it and they put the foot and the cap on it. 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's just
that was just
wild.
Nuts.
It's such a cool industry to think that that's like, it starts from a seed, and then they roll it. We go through this whole process. It gets packaged. It gets all this, and you can still buy it for $10.
300 hands.
$10. That's the wildest
hands touch it.
Fact to me. That 300 hands touch it, and it's still you can get cigars that are. I mean, some cigars are what Charter Oak is $7-8.
Yeah.
For a premium hand rolled cigar,
and it's not bad.
How do they do it? It doesn't make sense.
Well, it's funny. I was having a conversation with somebody recently on the prices of raw tobaccos.
Oh, it's gotten out of control.
And it is, but like when you hear about what some like raw tobaccos go for by a pound, I still feel like for those of us who know, it's like, wow. But like the average person, I feel like would hear it and be like, oh, that's kind of not crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot.
It doesn't. I mean, we know it is, but like it's like because like I think like filler tobacco, like a pound of like or like 50 pounds or whatever the standard measurement is, right?
It's all over the place depending on where you buy it from.
Yeah,
how you deal with it, and we're not big enough yet to be dealing with buying raw tobaccos.
Right, of course.
But still knowing the numbers, it is. You can buy it in different size bales, obviously.
Right.
But it's close to doubled from when I remember dealing with it with Hammer, and that was not long ago.
Did you guys have to when you were at Hammer? Did you deal with buying raw tobaccos and stuff?
For a couple of the cigars.
Okay.
And that's where it got interesting. Our Kalanock, that's where we really got into it.
Oh, that's right.
We were buying peat from Scotland, having that shipped into the Dominican Republic, and that was a wild experience because peat is technically a heat source.
Okay, yeah.
So that got held up in customs for months, if not a year, where we ended up having someone actually having to fly down there to no, this is what it's going to be done. We're not using it as a heat source. We're just, lighting it on fire and curing tobacco with it. That's where we really got into it. And that's where I really fell in love with the whole cigar industry.
Like the real...
Getting down and dirty with it and, having to find the right tobaccos that would take the peat smoke. Right? Because we tried doing it with Connecticut broadleaf and that was too thick. It didn't absorb it. Mm-hmm. It had to be like a Habano wrapper and Connecticut Habano. Even a U.S. Connecticut wrapper was too thin. It would take the smoke, but it would dry it out too quick. And so it was just like the science behind it. And that cigar we did with Phil Zangi, and working with him was wild because he's just he's as smart as it gets too. Unbelievable time.
Now here's something that crossed my mind as far as from a buying standpoint. So you're buying the premium tobaccos. So let's say that you're desiring a leaf for your cigar that 15 other companies all want it from the same guy. Does it get into like a bidding war for that tobacco?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, yeah. So with Hammer and Sickle, we had Moscow City, which was a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, and it had Connecticut broadleaf in the filler as well.
Yeah.
That cigar we stopped making because we couldn't get the amounts of Connecticut broadleaf that we wanted. And they're having that issue now again. And we had that 8 to 10 years ago, where people were just buying it all up when they found the tobacco that they liked, and that's what we were using. And again, with Hammer and Sickle, we weren't a huge company. We weren't able to buy as much tobacco as everybody else. So we'd be like, oh yeah, we need to buy another couple bales, or however we were doing it. And oh, sorry, yeah, someone just bought everything. And so Moscow City went away because we just couldn't get the tobacco to make it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Trying to reblend it was too difficult. Connecticut broadleaf is unlike anything else. I think who's doing it now?
Like who's using it?
Roma-Craft.
Roma-Craft
just switched to Pennsylvania broadleaf, I believe.
Yeah.
And they did a great job switching over. But when we were
Nick
trying to do it,
uses a lot of Connecticut too.
Nick Malillo?
Yeah. Connecticut broadleaf is just getting so scarce again. So, which sucks because that's one of my favorite tobaccos. I would
Steve
love
uses it
to use it, but if you can find it, it's just so expensive again. These guys were all smart and bought it, years ago, and they've got stockpiles, and so they'll be good for a while. But as a new company, we won't be able to get into Connecticut broadleaf.
Yeah,
we won't be able to touch it.
So that's crazy. So basically, as a smaller company, if you have a blend that uses uber desirable tobaccos, literally the big guys could push you out from being able to blend that cigar.
Yeah, and I understand it. They're buying the tobacco because they're sitting on it for longer. It's just part of the game. It sucks,
Money
but
talks.
It's just it's part of it.
Right.
One of the questions I had from someone who just started up a brand, we're talking about buying stuff and spending money. What does it actually cost to like make that initial investment? Is most of it on the packaging and the cigars, and for someone who's like, hey, I'm gonna be like Erik, I'm just gonna start a little brand and see where it goes. What kind of money do you need for that?
So,
if you don't mind me asking,
it depends on how you do it, and we're definitely doing it in a smaller scale, where, and again, I'm working with factories that I know and have a relationship with, so I am able to get a little bit of leeway.
Right.
So like when we got our cigars in, we had 30 days on the cigars, and we were able to make that money back in 30 days. So we didn't have to put in any money to pay for the cigars.
Okay.
Wow.
We just had to put in the initial to, bands, boxes, all that stuff. And we do no advertising. That's a big one, where it gets very expensive, as you guys know.
Yep, we do.
So it all depends. I think I'll come back on in a year, and I'll be more comfortable telling you what we
That's
spent
fair.
at that point. We'll have a conversation after we've been in there for a year and we know what it really looks like. But we've been very fortunate with the people I've known and the circumstances and everything, that it's really worked out for us, that it hasn't been a huge undertaking financially for us.
Okay.
But if we got into marketing, that's where it really, in my opinion, takes it to the next level.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, you remember that from Hammer and Sickle.
Oh, it gets out of control.
Yeah.
I remember getting those bills in, monthly, and I understand it, right? Because when you get big enough, you got to start playing with those guys.
Yeah.
Right now, we can't afford it. And to be fair, we don't make enough cigars yet to be able to put something out there and advertise, because
Sure.
our next line, our next run is coming in. It's going to leave the Dominican in about 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll have it in 4 to 5 weeks. We'll be out by then.
Wow.
Which is something I didn't expect. And like I was telling Matt before we started, we planned on, when we started this, to open 20 to 30 accounts. When we launched, we were only able to open 8 accounts because of the way they bought and the support behind it. So, obviously a big thank you to two guys, Twins, Plastow, Castros, all those guys. They got behind us huge. And, we did a bunch of events with them. They got behind it huge. And, like I said, we were planning on 20 to 30. We were only able to open 8. And it's kind of surreal, but also kind of terrifying, because when the next order comes in, that's when we have the, I guess, wider launch. So we'll really see how the shops receive it. So we're still in the launch phase.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because you guys have been officially live for what, like 2 months now?
Yeah, 2 months.
It hasn't been,
2 months live, and it's crazy.
Well, it's all uphill from here.
That's what I'm hoping.
I mean, at least that's what I hope for you. Just
What?
keep growing.
Yeah, it should be uphill.
Yeah, you want to make the climb up the mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if it's downhill.
Downhill's easier, but not going well. Yeah, so uphill. Yeah, so uphill.
Excuse me. Kevin, why don't we take a quick break? Let's talk about what we got in the news this week.
Very cool. So, one of the cool things in the news is J.C. Newman Cigars, who I'm sure everybody's familiar with. J.C. Newman, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the only remaining major manufacturer left in the United States.
I think they are the only, I read this recently. They are the only cigar manufacturer of factory in the U.S. Yeah, they are the only one. Which is
very cool. If you
wild
get
to
a minute
think,
to go
too.
to Tampa, it is.
Yeah.
Especially as you look at the history, right? If you get a chance, you have to go, check out El Roche in Tampa. It's very cool in Ybor City. But one of my favorite lounges down there, the Corona Cigar Lounge, they actually opened a Diamond Crown Cigar Lounge at Corona Cigars.
In Tampa?
So it's actually in Tampa.
That was the old
So it's
Davidoff
actually
of Geneva store. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you've ever been there, I mean, like, I'm a whiskey nerd. If you go in there, like, any whiskey that you could possibly, like, imagine,
They've got it.
they've got
They
it.
got it. Have you been there, right?
They've got it. I mean,
I
what
haven't
a
been in their new one.
freaking cool
Okay.
I haven't
lounge.
been.
Yeah, Kevin's right. Like, you walk in there and just a wall.
Was that that was the Corona Davidoff?
Yes.
Or was that? Okay,
Yes.
so yes, I've been in there.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was unbelievable.
Oh, man.
Such a cool spot.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm glad
Yes.
you brought that up, too, because, like, yeah, their whiskey selection is just out of this fucking world.
But what a
insane.
connection, to have J.C. Newman. Now they're working with Corona. I mean, and keeping everything right there in Tampa area. It's just, that's really cool.
It's funny. And Barbara it commented here, and I actually didn't think of this, but Kevin, maybe we should talk about this. She said, "What about Micallef and All Saints?" I forgot about that. That's true. So, was it even a whole year ago that they announced that they were working together? The combined, was it 9 months maybe?
That was back over the summer, like June, July, I think.
It was around the time Anastasia was born, or like right before she was born, I think.
Yeah, it was less than a year ago.
It was 'cause it was after PCA last year, right?
Yes, it was after. Yeah, it was after the trade show.
Yeah,
You're right.
So it was like August, September, maybe.
Yeah, it was right around the time she was born. I remember getting that news story, and I remember their motto being like, all gas, no brakes. They were all in, and they just announced yesterday that they have discontinued the combined sales force partnership, and they have decided to go their separate ways.
Did they really?
Yeah.
That was interesting. I mean, it was interesting when they announced it, right? And
It
now
was.
It's even more interesting that they've announced that that's dissolving and they're going their separate ways. So
It's true. I mean, you have to imagine. I'm sure. I don't really know why. I'm sure there's reasons why, but hey, maybe it didn't work the way they had thought out, or but it definitely wasn't a long venture. But hey, I think it's tough. Two separate brands that still operate independently, but you're also have one sales team selling both. It's I don't know.
And the brands aren't. I mean, the brands like the way the sizes of the companies and stuff aren't really drastically different. I mean, I know with Mickey with All Saints. I mean, it's still an up and coming brand, right?
Yeah.
But size wise, I mean, I think they're very similar.
I would say Micallef's probably a little bit bigger, but not by much.
A little bit, yeah. It's not. They're not a ton bigger. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously they've been around. They've been around the industry longer, but just kind of. I mean, to what Erik's doing, they've been in the industry. Mickey Peg has a big history in the industry, so it's not like it's new, so to speak.
Mickey's been around, yeah. He worked for Davidoff, CAO.
Interesting move. It'll be fun to see what happens.
Yeah,
thanks, Barb, for bringing that up.
Yeah, Barbara, I'm glad she brought that up because that is true. That was a big one. It was interesting. It was interesting.
I didn't even hear that.
My wife has my back.
That they stopped the partnership.
That they stopped. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, that just came out like yesterday.
That's.
Damn! Look at that smoke ring right there.
Good smoke ring.
I know. Oh, I almost went over the bottle.
It was accidental, but it was cool.
Yeah, Kevin, you missed that. So just off the camera, somehow there was just this thick smoke ring that just held on, and then it started to go down to the neck of the bottle, and then it dissipated. I'm like, imagine.
That's cool.
I was like, come on.
That was
Damn. It was like, do you remember the DVD video like screensaver thing with a box?
Hit the corner.
You hit the corner and you're like and then once in a while
guys just invented a new smoking game.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, go, and no, it didn't. I was like, damn, I can't blow rings if they happen. It's
I was gonna say
accidental.
I don't even know if I could do a smoke ring.
I can't. It's too much work.
Yeah,
when I'm smoking a cigar, I just want to relax and smoke it.
I know. You
Barbara
see, like,
can do them.
Barbara can do it.
Can actually, yeah, she can do smoke rings.
I didn't know that. Oh shit. Yeah. Oh shit! Next time I'm with Barbara, I'm gonna make her do it because now I gotta see it. Well,
Erik, in case you're wondering, Barbara is my wife.
Oh, nice.
Yes, Barbara is the better half.
So good call, Barbara, on bringing that up. So
you
didn't forget it.
She's a team player.
Yeah, she's doing the research, so you don't have to.
Kurt Anderson says probably because Mickey drinks a lot. I mean, he. I love Mickey, but it's hard to argue the facts.
I mean,
I don't think that's why, but he definitely knows how to drink.
Listen, I love drinking just as much as the next guy.
Hey,
so.
that's what we're doing,
I feel like I slurred that a little bit too. That was accidental.
That was very appropriate for what was being said. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I don't think that was why, but he's not wrong. Mickey knows how to drink.
It's
so.
part of the industry. You're smoking. You're having some drinks. You're having a good time.
I know. You know how many times like I've had Mickey call me like after a show or whatever, just be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And we'll just like go on. I remember the last time I talked to Mickey, and we had a great conversation. Like I wouldn't trade it for anything. I just remember I was like 3 cigars deep, and I looked at my phone. It was like 3:45 in the morning. I was like, "Mickey, I love you, but we've been on here since 11:30. I gotta go to bed." And he's like, "All right, I'll call you tomorrow." Oh wait, before you go, and I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? Hey, did you hear?" And I'm like, "Damn!" I'm like, I gotta get into this.
As big as the personality as he is too, Mickey Peg is like one of the most humble guys in the industry too.
I love him.
Such a good dude. I love him so much.
That's what I love about the industry.
Mickey Peg.
There's not a lot of bad guys in the industry. There's hardly like everybody you can sit down and have a drink and a talk with. It's just
if you're a dickbag, you get ran out pretty quick. I have witnessed.
I'll let you know soon.
You don't last long.
There's a few.
Between a dickbag and being an asshole. I mean, assholes. We're all assholes, right? So
there's definitely and I think the three of us all know who they are. That's how few of them there are. Like we know who they are.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
But
and they don't last long, or they get talked about in a negative way. Which I mean, on the flip side of that, negative press is better than no press, right?
I guess that's true.
I disagree with that. The Russian war didn't help Hammer. And
well, in your case,
about that.
Yeah, in your case, you guys kind of got fucked.
Well, there's an exception to every rule, right?
I found it.
Yeah, you guys, that one you guys got screwed. But shit happens.
Listen, at the end of the day, we weren't dealing with the war, really, right?
Yeah.
We just,
Yeah.
So. Really wasn't the worst thing in the world.
My buddy Kurt coming up with the good comments. Micallef boys couldn't keep up with him. Just saying.
Wow, I mean, that's a powerful statement, but look,
it's really. I mean, it's two different I mean, really, it's just two different directions. Really,
it is.
I think the way that they're going.
I think that Micallef does a good job on their own, but they have a different thing, and Mickey's doing his thing, and Mickey's got kind of a smaller shop that he's got running, and everyone's going to do something different that works for them and their brand. So, and like Erik, you know this too. I mean, you've run another brand, now you have your own brand.
You figure out what works and you run with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
and you're going to probably have bumps on the road that you didn't have when you worked at Hammer and Sickle.
Oh, absolutely.
As a brand owner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the different bumps are, it's your money.
Yeah.
When it was Hammer's money, I didn't give a shit.
It's like if you feel like, well, all right, we'll try again next week. But this week you're like, fuck.
Yep.
That didn't work.
Yeah, the money definitely influences decisions.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah. It's
But see, it makes you operate smarter.
Yes.
Well, that was our news this week, brought to you by Micallef Cigars, featuring the new Micallef Black. Actually, now we're onto the blue, featuring the new Micallef Blue. Check it out today. Has it officially launched? I think it's officially launched now.
It's officially launched. There'll be a review coming soon for that one as well.
Yes.
Since, I did the black initially, so
you're doing the blue.
We'll get that one. I'm doing the blue.
All right, so Kevin's going to keep it going. He's going to do all the Micallef colors. That's going to be the thing. It's like, all right, Kevin, whenever the next color comes out, you're going to do the colors. You're going to make sure you can do them all.
Perfect. You're the Micallef guy. The blue was very good,
colorblind.
I know, right? No, I mean, I don't think I actually smoked the blue yet. I have some.
The blue was very good. I really enjoyed it.
The black, I remember last year was big for us. Kevin gave it a 91.
Everyone
on the team smoked it, and we were like, wow.
That was... They've got some
if I had to pick
$8.
If I had to pick a surprise cigar from last year, that would be it.
Yeah.
I would never expect an $8 cigar to pound like that.
Yeah.
It is what's crazy about the industry is that, $8 cigar means something now.
It does.
Mm-hmm. And I know what it takes to make an $8 cigar. We're $10 to $11. Making an $8 cigar is not easy. It was a stretch making a $10 cigar. So, I mean...
Well... Anyone can make an $8 cigar or a $5 cigar, but it's how is it going to perform?
So making a good $8 cigar.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's literally as hard as making a good $40 cigar.
Yeah.
I'm actually.
if you make a good $40 cigar, you're going to want people to spend $40 to buy it again, right? I mean, making an $8 cigar,
Yeah, you got to make it that big of a moment.
I understand the challenges there. Yeah.
I think it's spectacular.
Do you only have Connecticut's or these?
No, these are the Habanos.
These are the Habanos. All right,
yes,
I got to move on to the Habano.
Absolutely.
I got to try both.
So Erik, your brand, you have a Connecticut and a Habano, right?
Yes, sir.
Those are the two that you have.
And so both of them, our Connecticut is a mild. It does have Nicaraguan in the filler, so there's a little extra kick to it. It's not your typical Connecticut by any means. And our Habano is still just kind of at that medium range. We don't have that medium to full-bodied.
Very cool.
Which is what.
So open to all palates, basically, right?
Yes. So
open to smokers of all experience levels, which is good.
Yeah, the Habano everyone can smoke. If you're a full-bodied smoker, like I said, it is medium, but everybody can enjoy it. There's tons of flavor. It's a smooth smoke. It's got a good nicotine kick, but it's got all the flavors you're looking for. And
that Connecticut was good.
The Connecticut I love, and the reception on the Connecticut's been unbelievable.
That seems to be like the go-to cigar as of late. Like the last couple of years, I know we talked about this in our Cigar of the Year conversation, Matt, and whatnot. And it seems like last year was almost like the year of the Connecticut, and it's almost seeming like maybe this year might be a little bit of the same.
Yeah, the Connecticut's definitely were. We had a lot of them on the list last year.
I think we got to the point with COVID that people were smoking more and smoking at different times.
Yeah.
So a Connecticut, you can smoke at 4 a.m., right? If you're waking up to, get some emails done, you can light that up with a cup of coffee, and it's not going to linger the rest of the day.
Yeah.
You can smoke it at lunch. It's not something you have to have a full meal before you smoke it. You can enjoy that at any point. So I think Connecticut really got, a big push from COVID and the smokers starting to smoke more. Because your average smoker, I would say, probably started after noon. When I would tell people I lit up a cigar at 6 a.m., they're like, how do you do that? I'm like, oh,
That's how my day starts.
Yeah. Not a lot of people do that. But I think more have started smoking earlier and more often since COVID because, working from home is more of a thing now.
Yeah.
So they get to smoke whenever they want. I also think that's why Churchills have slowed down. We don't have a Churchill in our line. I feel people get more of an hour to an hour and a half break now to be able to smoke cigars, go out, do Zoom calls, do emails. They don't have that 2 hours free anymore. They get like little breaks. So Churchills have just, in my opinion, have slowed down. I don't see sales of Churchills going crazy anymore. And maybe that's just something I'm looking at wrong, but it's kind of what I see, and that's why we don't have a Churchill in our line.
I like the ring size of a Churchill, but
Me
the
too.
length is definitely
Well, that's why we
I'm
made
a-
the 6x48. That's
yeah.
That's my cigar right there. That's the perfect size to me as a 6x48.
What you call that, the Corona?
Call it a 6x48.
6x48. That's right. You already said that.
So it's really, it's called 48. It is what like shops have it online for. If you go to twoguyscigars.com, one of your sponsors,
Yep. Nice job.
they have it listed as 3-leaf 48, 3-leaf 50, 3-leaf 54. So the ring gauge
Barb and I
is,
48. That's our wheel. That's like our go-to is the 48. We love that size.
well, I'm definitely going to send you guys some. So again, I apologize you don't have any to smoke with us today, but that's Matt's fault. So
Yep. We'll get
It is,
some to you,
Matt,
though.
it is.
Well, we'll get
But
some.
it's going to be intriguing too to try because the Habano you said is full size, but it's medium strength. So I mean, that's an important thing too, to where for the smokers that are starting to gain an experience that want that fuller bodied and fuller flavored, but still can't take the strength. Now you can have a full bodied, full flavored cigar, but you still don't have to have a belly full of food to enjoy it. But if you do have it after a meal, it's still going to punch through.
Yep.
And it's not going to nicotine you to death.
yeah, you're not standing
So
up with
that's-
sea legs.
That's huge. And I
yeah.
mean, and Habano wrapper is freaking amazing.
Absolutely. I love an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. I know it's an easy
yes.
tobacco to come about. And it is, definitely a little oversaturated in the market, I think, but I just think it's such a good wrapper.
Yeah, it's good, which is why it's oversaturated.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
a
it's
good
fun.
wrapper.
And I think again, I like to always bring this up and like kind of remind people too, because like, again, you always have to try to remember of like the average cigar consumer, right?
Average cigar consumer is a mild to medium.
Yeah, and again, like there's guys at work, so there's guys at work that they find out and they're like, oh, is there cigars? And I've brought cigars in for the guys, because they're interested, and I go, I'll bring some shit in for you guys, and one of the guys was like, yeah, like he asked me, he's like, hey, I was wondering if I could get some cigars from you. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I got plenty, and he's like, I was like, what do you like? And he was like, I mostly smoke, I like the Ashtons, and I'm like, all right. He's like, but I like mild. He's like, I don't like a dark cigar, which, to people like us, it's like, it's not really the language we would use,
Yeah.
but like, I know what he's saying. So I'm like, all right, so he likes a mild cigar. He likes something Connecticut shade. I brought him in a bunch of cigars that were milder, Connecticut shade. I handpicked them all for him, and then I asked him, like, hey, like, what'd you think of this? Oh, like this one was great, and like that one was great, and like there was this one. I was like, yeah, all those are great. And I remember one time he said to me something interesting that mind you is coming from the average consumer who doesn't know what we know, right? And but that's how the majority of cigar people are. So you have to kind of remember that. And he's like, yeah, I don't like a dark cigar. And I find that it's like it's too much. Like it lingers in me. I like the mild cigars. I feel like when I have a dark cigar, it fills my mouth up, and then it's there forever, and I can't get that taste out.
Yeah, you wake up thinking you smoked it still.
Yeah. And I remember just hearing him say that to me and being like, it's not something that I think about because I just smoke everything all the time and I don't really care. But like you hear from like the regular guy being like, yeah, like this is why like I don't like dark cigars because of like this and that and this, and you're like, oh, okay, and you kind of like step back and think about it and you're like, yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And, when you're talking about, like, smoking in the morning and starting off with Connecticut, it's like, I think back to them, like, yeah, well, like, perfect example. Like, here's a guy who loves to have a good cigar, but he doesn't want it to, not so much maybe the strength, but, like, just flavor strength wise, it's I hate that, after it's too much for me and it's overpowering. I just want to enjoy the smoke without being, whatever. Now, you and I, after this, could go smoke something super heavy and we'll love it.
Absolutely.
But that's not for everybody.
It's the same thing in liquor. There's people who don't like bourbon because it lingers.
Yeah.
Right? They like tequila or vodka because once they're done drinking it,
It's clean.
it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's over. Bourbon, you were drinking bourbon.
Especially the people who like to hide that they're drinking. They drink the vodka because they're like, oh, yeah, it doesn't smell.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just soda water.
You know what I mean?
It's just soda water. There's no
Yeah. Or like,
But that's the thing, and Eric, and it sounds like Eric, you're kind of blending. Your cigars are kind of following that line of, people that want flavor, but don't want the strength.
Correct. So
which is awesome.
I'm a big golfer, and on the golf course, you don't want a cigar. One, you have to work at, relight all the time, and work on, and you also don't want it when you put it down. You're, hawking up loogies. You're still tasting it. It's closing up your throat a little bit. It's hitting the palate in different ways.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things I look at is if it can be enjoyable on the cigar on the golf course. And so that to me means you can smoke it while doing other things and it not overpower what you're doing.
That's funny you mentioned that because my company's we have a golf outing on Friday, and I've been, of course, of my position here, it's like I've been elected to provide cigars for
of course
the guys that are playing at our teams.
Yep.
And it's hard to go through and find stuff that everybody's going to be able to smoke.
Yeah.
It's very true. And you have to like think of like everyone's gonna want something different, Yeah, you also have to stop and think like these guys probably don't smoke all the time, so it's like, am I gonna show up with a box of Tatuaje Cajonio 2012 Reserva broadleaves? No.
You got to show up with a Connecticut. You got to show up with. I think our Habano's perfect for it because everyone can smoke it. It's not going to turn anybody off. But yeah, it is that thing of what can I bring that everyone's going to enjoy.
I always find it's interesting too, like when you're with like a group of people who like is having a cigar with you, and maybe they don't smoke all the time, so they're smoking something mild, and they're whatever you give them or whatever they have, like they're loving it, and then you pull out something that's like full body, and they're like, oh, what's that? Yeah. And you're like, you won't like this, trust me.
Yeah. You got to talk them out of it.
You're like, I'm telling you right now, you're not gonna like this. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, like. If that is tickling you just right, this is going to ruin it for you.
Yeah, you're going to hate cigars if you smoke this.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but like, just don't do it.
Well, I remember when I was first starting out, I followed the guideline to pretty much, the old school way, right? Everybody started, Connecticut, mild body or medium bodied. And it's like, I'm smoking it. It's like, it's just air. There's not really anything here because my palate wasn't developed enough to be able to taste the intricacies of those types of cigars, right? It seems like now to get people interested in cigars and to get people smoking and want to smoke more cigars, Eric, like what you're blending is the perfect thing to get them into it and show them what's out there and get flavor in their mouth.
Absolutely. Well, I think the way you've started with the Connecticut and the Habano, great way to start.
Appreciate that.
And I'm excited to see what you do with it going forward.
So me too.
I think, yeah, I'm sure. I know that it'll probably expand as you go. So
absolutely,
I'm looking forward to whatever that becomes. But I mean, that's we're getting towards the end of our show here. So Eric, first of all, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys. I love this.
Absolutely.
Eric, it was nice to meet you.
That was a pleasure, Kevin. And we'll definitely send you some cigars out. So I got to make sure to get your address.
I'll give it to you.
All right, perfect.
I have it. It is 8. No, I'm not going to say it publicly. I won't do that to Kevin. I sent him so much stuff though that I do have his address memorized. It's definitely makes my life easier sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great to have you.
I appreciate it so much, guys, and
excited to see you back too.
I love it. Thank you.
That's cool. I'm excited to see where you go, man. It's like
Thank you.
You have a history in the industry. You have a cool backstory to your new company.
Yeah.
So I think just I'm a firm believer that backstory is a good building block to success. So you have a solid foundation to build from. So I see some successes coming from that.
I love that. Thank you so much. Can't wait for you to smoke it.
Yeah, this Habano is great. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the Connecticut better. But this is good.
That's what everybody's been saying. The Habano is great, but
it's not bad at all.
People are loving the Connecticut.
But that really rocked me.
Full-bodied smokers, seasoned smokers are smoking the Connecticut and going, that's a good cigar.
It is.
Barbara and I have turned into Connecticut nerds. We like the full-bodied but medium strength Connecticut's. It's crazy how that's even possible.
Yeah, no, the Connecticut I think we definitely knocked out of the park. The Habano I love too, but the Connecticut is my favorite, especially in the 48 size.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean the 48, like you said, I mean the 6-inch is a good line. I mean I do like longer cigars, but that classic 6.5 is a great regular that's like my regular smoke length. But the 40, you see a lot of 50, 52, 54. And I like them, don't get me wrong. But that 48, and this is a great size.
Does something for me. That's
the wheelhouse.
Perfect.
The wheelhouse size.
Yeah, the 6x48 really, this is a really nice size.
I love it.
Yeah, I think you guys did well with the size. The blends are good. I mean, the packaging, we've already talked about. It's simple. It's great for a retailer. You get on shelves. You don't take up too much space. Smaller box counts, which, especially with the price of cigars now, you're seeing, you're not seeing the 20, 25 count boxes anymore. You're starting to see them go down.
Yep.
More cost effective for you, cost effective for the retailer to buy in. It's a win-win for everybody. And you know what? You buy a smaller box and you just buy more and you run out.
Exactly. That's, that was our mindset, is keep the price point of the box low. And, when they like it, they'll come back and buy another.
I agree. So I mean, I think you've done all of the little things. I think you've done well.
That's what I'm hoping.
And it seems like it's working for you so far. So I'm excited for you. You know that. I've known you a long time. So I wish you nothing but the best. And I can't wait to see what you do next, Erik. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been an absolute blast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, when you come back next year, hopefully we'll have a lot more to talk about. We'll have some updates on it.
Absolutely. Oh.
We'll definitely have some stories.
Yes.
Yeah. Got to have some stories. Well, guys, that's going to do it for our show this week. It was great to be here. Kevin, thanks for being here as well. Rocking the Dixon shirt, as always, looking good. Look at this guy.
The beard, the shirt.
He's the best looking guy on the show every week. It's fucking like, I'm
he
telling
belongs
you.
in New Hampshire with that look. I don't get that for Vegas. You look hot.
I know.
And I mean sweaty, not.
Yeah,
you are hot. Don't get me wrong. Whatever.
Hey, it's short sleeves and bamboo material. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, you look like you belong up here. You don't look like you belong in the Southwest, but that's okay. You have a little bit of New Hampshire vibe down there. That's awesome.
There we go.
But guys, that's going to be our show this week. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe everywhere you get your podcast and on our YouTube channel. I should mention this. Sorry. Our 2024 Cigar Family Charitable Foundation fundraiser is live. Okay? It is active. We're over 2,000 in our first 2 days. We got a long way to go. We have more prizes being added by the day. Ashton just added some stuff. It's not up there yet, but I've been in communication with them, and there's some Hiram Solomon stuff that has to be put up on there. Things are just always being added, and it's the way it goes every year. Things continues to get. People are like, oh, can I add something in? There's going to be more stuff. There's stuff that Nicole and I are going to pull out of our personal collections to put in there. So There is more to come, but don't sleep on this. Talk to anyone who's been involved before. We've raised over $100,000 our first 3 years, so really proud of that. Let's keep it going. Let's keep up the momentum. Very excited about it. I will post the link in the comments, the description, all of that. But you can also head to smokintabacco.com for news, reviews, and updates and all that other fun stuff. But if you go to our cigar, I can't remember what the tab. I think it might be our CFCF fundraiser. There's a tab somewhere that'll take you to our fundraising stuff. Buy some raffle tickets, donate some money.
Wild stuff in there.
There's some wild stuff in there, and help change some kids' lives. I've been down there. I've met those kids. I've been to that school, and now that I have been, I have to say, really proud of all the work that we've done the last few years from all of you, and I want to keep it going because I know how much it means to everyone involved. So don't forget to check that out. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you all next week. Take care.